Alright, so this is the first time where the domain is not all real numbers. So what we're doing is setting the inside of the radical to be greater than or equal to 0. So whatever's on the inside, not what's on the outside. The 4 doesn't enter the picture. And if there's a number in the front or a sign in the front, you don't do that either. So we only have to do the inside of the radical. I think we solved that. So this becomes 2x is greater than or equal to 6. And x is greater than or equal to 3. Now, make sure you remember how to write this in interval notation. In interval notation, this starts at 3 and it goes to infinity. Right? If this were x is less than 3, then you have negative infinity than 3. Note, the regular number is always going to have the square bracket, and the infinity is always going to have the parentheses. Okay? Now, identify the starting point. The starting point is always this number, this x that you just found here. So it's going to be 3, and then plug in that 3 into that expression. So if you plug 3 into that expression, you're going to get whatever's on the outside, which is 4. Okay? So this 3, 4 is going to be the first order pair in your chart. Okay? And you want to find 2 other points. Okay, so what you want to do here, you want to go up. If this is a greater than, you want to go up from that 3. If that's less than, you want to go down from that starting point. So I'm going to just try a couple numbers. I'm going to try 5. 4 is not a bad choice. If I try 4, I get 4 times 2 is 8. 8 minus 6 is 2. What's the square root of 2?
Square root of 2 is 1.45.
So I don't want to mess with that. So let's go to 5. Okay. So I'm going to do 5 times 2. So here's what I'm doing. I'm actually working this out. It's 2 times 5 minus 6. So that's what that part is. Don't forget the plus 4. What's 2 times 5?
10.
Minus 6?
4.
What's square root of 4? 2. Plus 4?
6.
Right, so one of the more common errors today is that they forget this outside number when they're calculating. Okay? It didn't affect the domain, but when you're actually plugging in points, you have to use the whole expression. Make sure to use the whole expression. All right? Okay, let's pick another number. So between these two numbers, you're going to be pretty close, like 1 or 2 units apart. And then between this number and the next number, you want to be about 3 times bigger than that. So here, the difference is 2. 3 times 2 is 6, so I want to go up to about 11. Now, I want to just try 11, see if it works, okay? So I'm going to plug in 11 into this expression. I get 22 minus 6. What's 22 minus 6?
16.
Is that a perfect, what's the square root of 16?
4.
4, so that works. So I'm going to try 11. I'm going to put 11 there. So 2 times 11 minus 6, and then the plus 4. So 2 times 11 is 22. Minus 6 is 16. What's the square root of 16? You got to take the square root first.
Square root of 16.
It's 4, and then you add 4, and you get 8. All right, so I want 3 points. These are my 3 points. Now I'm going to graph this puppy. All right, so 3, 4 is here. 5, 6. And please tell me if I'm graphing this thing correctly. My eyes are crossing up here. And 11, 8. Does that look right? Okay?
Wait, let me get the 3 long.
5, 6.
5, 6.
I'm plotting these points up here. Right? I'm plotting the points on my Q chart.
Oh, I see how it works now.
Okay? Now, remember we said this is the starting point. So from there, I'm going to draw my little graph. And yes, you're going to connect these dots.
Do we want them straight lines?
It is not a straight line.
So we want them to go.
It is a curve. This is a curve. Please don't make it straight. I'd rather have a sloppy curve than a bunch of straight lines. Okay? All right, ready for A?
Ready.
Okay. Oh, Alright. Note the directions. It says state the domain and range. State the domain and range. Alright, so first we start with the domain. So we're going to start with this part.
So that would be,
Go ahead.
that would be x plus 3 is greater than or equal to 0.
Yeah, so this one's easy. So which is x is greater than or equal to negative 3. Okay, so my domain is negative 3 to infinity. You set the inside of the radical greater than or equal to 0. What's the matter, Landon? What happened?
He was trying to figure out where we do it, like the top
What top?
part of the page.
Where are you?
He's saying like, do we do this the same way that we did this?
Yes. Right? So I set the inside of the radical greater than or equal to 0. Alright. So my starting point begins at x equals negative 3. So I plug negative 3 into that expression. What happens when I plug in negative 3?
So it's negative 3 plus 3, that's 0. 0 minus 1 is negative 1.
Negative 1. Okay?
Is it always going to be a number that's outside of the...
Yep. Good call. It's always a number outside. Not the number outside the radical, but the thing being added or subtracted. Okay?
So what do you do with it?
Oh, that's smart.
For this one, nothing happened because when I plugged in negative 3, I got 0 and it wiped out the 2.
Oh, okay.
But the next step, so I want to go bigger than negative 3. What's 1 bigger than negative 3?
Negative 2.
So I'm going to plug in negative 2. What happens when you plug in negative 2?
I got the second.
You get 1.
You get 1 times 2.
Which is 2.
Wait, don't you square the 1?
Okay, what's square root of 1?
1 point...
One. No, square root of 1 is 1.
No.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Okay?
That's 2.
2 minus 1 is 1. Right? So, okay? So when I plug in negative 2, I get 1 out of that.
Negative 1.
Okay?
We do 6, right?
Okay, so here's a hint. So remember last time I went 2, and then I went 6. This time I went 1, so I'm going to go 3 more.
To 0?
So what's negative 2 plus 3?
No, what's 1?
1. Okay? So what happens when you plug in 1?
You get 3, right? You get
1 plus 3 is 4. Square root of 4 is 2. 2 times 2 is minus 1 is, what Colin
Quick
said,
maths.
3. Yes?
I'm really confused on how you just like pick a number like
Alright, do you understand how I got the first one?
yeah.
Okay. Alright, so if it says greater than, I start picking numbers that are bigger than that. And at the beginning, I want to stay really close. Like only go 1 or 2 away. Okay? So I always try just 1 away first. See if that works. And when I say it works out nicely. Right? If I plug in negative 2, it's negative 2 plus 3 is 1, and square root of 1 is 1. So that's the nicely part. If I plugged in 0, it'd be 0 plus 3 is 3. What's the square root of 3? I have no idea. It's like 1.7 something. I don't want to graph 1.7. Okay? So that's what I mean by nicely. So pick a number that works out nicely. Okay? So the distance between the first 2 numbers is very small. You want to keep them 1 or 2 units apart. And then next one, you want to go twice that distance. So, 3 times that distance. So if this is 1 unit apart, I'm going to choose this to be 3 units apart. Okay? So if the first 2 were 2 units apart, then I want to make them 6 units apart. Alright. Does that help clear up any?
Wait, how do you get the y value again?
I plug it into this expression. So I plug the 1 into there to get 3.
Oh.
Alright, ready? So I'm going to graph this. So it's negative 3, negative 1. Negative 3, negative 1. Make sure you correct me if I screw up the graphing, please. My eyes are crossing up here. Negative 2, positive 1. It's really easy to trick yourself into thinking you're doing the right thing. 1, 3. I noticed that today. Is that right? Claire, is that right? It doesn't look right. Alright. Okay? So then, remember this is the starting point, so I'll go up. Oh, now it looks right.
No.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Beautiful. Alright, ready? 2 more examples. Isn't that 2 more examples? 2 more examples. What's that?
There's no number on the back.
There's no number on it.
What I just automatically assume it's a 0.
Yeah. Alright. So you remember you're starting with setting the inside greater than or equal to 0. That's the first thing you do. Set the inside greater than or equal to 0. Let's zoom in. Harley, you're being recorded. This mic picks up that corner of the room.
Ha.
Alright, so this becomes x is greater than or equal to negative 2. So that's my starting point, negative 2. If I plug in negative 2, what do I get? 0, right? Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. Square root of 0 is 0. The opposite of 0 is 0. Molly, do you know what the next number is?
Negative.
Yep, negative 1. Good. So you plug in negative 1. Negative 1 plus 2 is 1. Square root of 1 is 1. And then the opposite of that. So it's negative 1. And then, what's the next one?
1?
2, right? Add 3. So
Oh,
to
3.
get from negative 2 to negative 1, it was 1. To get from this one to the next one, you want to add 3. So that's going to be positive 2. Negative 1 plus 3 is positive 2.
And then 2 plus 2 is 4.
2 plus 2 is 4. Square root of 4 is,
2.
and then take the opposite of that, and you get negative 2. Alright, ready?
Wait, I'm graphing.
Well, can I graph 2?
I mean, I guess.
Thank you. Negative 2, 0. Negative 1, negative 1. 2, negative 2. And there we go. Oh, did we answer the range? We didn't answer the range. The domain is negative 2 to infinity. What's the range? We skipped the range on A. We have to go back and answer the range. So range is how high does it go? How low does it go? How low will this go? How low will that go?
Oh, then
Negative
infinity.
3.
Negative infinity. It goes to negative infinity. So whenever you do range, the first number or expression here is how low will it go? How high will this go? Okay. What's the y value there? So don't look at the x value. What's the y value at x equals negative 0? So that's the range. So the range is negative infinity to 0. Let's go back and look at A. Look at the range. Okay. So remember the first number is, or first expression is how low will it go? How low will this go?
Infinity.
Negative 1.
No.
Negative 1, that's how low it goes. How high will it go? That's infinity. Okay, so range is how low will it go, is the first number, and the second number is how high will it go.
Wait, is that C? Or is that...
That's A, the one we skipped. We left off the range of A. It was your job to remind me. Alright. Did we answer everything for part B? Example B? We got the domain, we got the range, and we got those. And we have the graph. Alright, last example. And then you're going to do some on your own. So, set the inside greater than or equal to 0. Just the inside. So that's negative x is greater than or equal to negative 1. So I still have a negative on the x. What happens when I divide by a negative? I flip the sign. Right? The inequality changes directions whenever you multiply or divide by a negative number. So note, this is the first time it's less than 1. So my domain looks like this. Negative infinity to 1. So my starting point is 1 what? What happens when I plug a 1 into that?
Negative 1 plus 1 is 0 goes 4.
So 4. Alright, so remember you're going down this time because of that less than. So you don't, so the next one is not 2, you gotta go down from 1. So if you go down from 1, what's the next one then? 0. So if you plug in 0, what do you get?
5.
5. Right? Because 0 plus 1 is 1. Square root of 1 is 1. 1 plus 4 is 5. Now you want to go 3 units down from 0. So that's just negative 3.
6.
Everybody see how I was getting 6?
Where do you
Right.
get the 3 from? Oh, yeah.
I'm going down. Right? Because it's less than, I need to go down instead of going up.
If you're down 3, everything?
I went down 1 and then I went down 3.
I see.
So are the y's always going to be 1 apart?
No. So if I plug in negative 3, I'm sorry, yes. Well, if you choose my numbers, then yes, they'll be 1 apart. Okay? Alright. So 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, and then 0, 5, and then negative 3, 6. So this time it's, so the starting point is over here, and then it's going towards the left,
And that's because it's greater than
because it's less than or equal to. So what's the range this time? So how low will it go?
4.
4. So as low as it goes is 4. How high does it go? Infinity. Alright, that's the lesson.
Easy.